sé que tienes un libro.
Mm.
En español no sé, ¿cómo se llama el libro? ¿En inglés?
En inglés es La Ciencia de la Fe.
Las-
Or in English, it's The Science of Faith.
sí.
Yeah.
Tenía preguntas de
Yeah, bro.
cómo
Yeah.
escribiste, qué te dio por por escribir un libro.
Yeah.
Yo la verdad, yo nunca he tenido ganas de escribir un libro y pues qué bueno, porque no todos podemos escribir un libro. Me imagino que ha de ser una artesanía increíble, tiempo, dinero,
Yeah.
trabajo, esfuerzo,
Mhm.
dedicación. ah, pero ¿qué te dio por escribir un libro? ¿A qué edad lo escribiste? ¿A qué edad lo sacaste?
Um, I started writing the book when I was probably like 18, 19.
O estaba
No, no,
chavalo.
no. Sorry. I meant like. Well, here's the thing. Like in my mind, I was gathering these information
Yeah.
for years, and I was just soaking it in. And on my free time, I would just go and do research and watch YouTube videos and read books and then read things that would kind of feed that interest of mine of faith and science.
Yeah.
And like going through college, taking engineering courses and taking physics and taking mathematics and high levels of like physics and math, they start. And my approach has always been like, hey, this is cool. This kind of like proves that God is so real.
Yeah.
Because I feel like science could do either or. Like it either brings you so closer to God, or it like takes you away from it.
Yeah.
And legit, you're on the driver's seat, so you can choose which way you're gonna go. And I chose to increase my faith and just add to my faith, because you get to see how amazing God is through the lens of math and science. So those were my interests. So I started collecting information without even knowing that I wanted to write a book.
Yeah.
But I feel like at the age of like 26, 27, going into 28, like I was like, man, I need to write this down. This is cool. At least for me, I thought it was interesting. So I started collecting just information. And then I remember God places people in your life
Yeah.
that influence you, that allow you to see that it's possible.
Right.
And I recently came into this, like, I want to encourage someone that maybe is on the edge of doing something great, and you're wondering if you should or you shouldn't, or write a book or start a podcast. Like,
Yeah.
te felicito, bro, because this is cool. Congratulations doing this podcast. I know it's not easy. Just ask yourself, like, what if I could pull this off?
Yeah. Just
Yeah.
solo sí.
Like, just kind of think about that for a second. Like, hey, what if I could actually do this?
Yeah.
And let that drive you, and just start doing a little bit of research and just take one step at a time, and then just like start crushing it. And then God will open doors. But here's the mentality is, though, as long as you point to Christ, and God will open doors as long as like it doesn't like lead you away from Christ, because God doesn't want for this blessing that was meant to be a blessing to end up being a curse. So that's what happened with me. I started just collecting data. God put people in my life that just started inspiring me and pushing me into that direction. And one of them, like, I was at the cutting edge of writing this book. I started I started spending a lot of money.
Oh, yeah?
Oof. But I feel like God came and saved me from that.
Yeah.
So I'll kind of go into it, like, just detail how I wrote this book. And like,
Yeah.
you'll be surprised maybe at the end of this, like, hey, I could do this. And absolutely, anyone can. Like, go do it.
Yeah.
So I remember I was in the middle of this, like, spending a bunch of money, and I got some information, and then the Lord delivered me from that. And I'm really grateful for Pastor Jacob Rodriguez. He came, he spoke to one of our camps in Arizona.
Oh, okay.
And one of those times I went to have lunch, and then I just kind of started asking questions, picking his brain, and I asked him a couple questions that just clicked for me. And it was real simple, but that's all I needed.
Yeah.
And then I went after it. So if you want to write a book, let me give you a couple steps. First of all, I don't know how detailed you want me to go into
No,
this.
no,
Like,
porque quiero tratar de entender
okay.
cómo es que... Porque hay muchas personas, y no nomás, ahorita estamos hablando de un libro porque tú has escrito un libro,
Yeah, okay.
pero hay personas que quieren escribir un canto
Yeah,
y no se
yeah.
animan a hacerlo por la crítica. Porque aquí viene, si yo te pregunto, ¿estabas pensando en la crítica?
Yeah,
Cuando tú estás
naturally.
correctamente, pero si tú te enfocas en lo que quieres hacer, la crítica yo ahorita estoy en un punto de mi vida
Mm-hmm.
donde tu comentario lo escucho porque tengo oídos,
Yeah.
pero es todo.
Yeah.
O sea, es muy bueno que me den comentarios, pero
Yeah.
tengo gente seleccionada
Yeah. Yeah.
con las que puedo decir, ok, el consejo de ella o de él me va a servir. Pero los demás simplemente es ruido alrededor de mí que si no me beneficia no lo agarro.
Yeah.
Y yo creo que mucha gente, jóvenes, quieren hacer algo, pero no se animan a hacerlo por la crítica. Ahora, por eso quiero que digo, si vas con detalles, no importa, porque yo sé que alguien se va a animar a escribir un libro.
Amen.
A lo mejor no nos va a decir, y no quiero que me diga, o sea, no
Yeah.
quiero que me diga, no, es que escuché allí y lo dije, no.
Por la culpa de
Yeah.
Bubbas Podcast escribí este libro.
Pero si lo hacen, ¡hey, qué chido! O
Yeah,
sea,
absolutely.
simplemente con que alguien se lleve algo de aquí,
Yes.
estoy satisfecho.
Yeah.
Pero
Yeah.
aparte de eso, yo quiero aprender de
Ujú.
ti, de alguna persona que lo ha hecho. Nunca he tenido a alguien enfrente de mí que ha escrito un libro. Y ahorita que tengo es como que quiero aprovechar,
Yeah,
quiero
yeah,
aprender
bro.
todo.
Amen,
So,
no.
si vas con detalles, no hay ningún problema.
Yeah. Okay, so if you want to write a book, here are a couple steps. Do research, number
Yeah.
one. Do research. Research your theme. Know exactly what you want to talk about. And then simplify it. Learn to just kind of know exactly what you want to talk about.
Yeah.
Write an outline of what you want to write about. What's the title of your book going to be? Envision the title page. These little steps are very crucial because it's the beginning phases of writing a book. So let me share what I did. There's probably different ways to do it out there. But
Yeah.
If this works for you, go and do it. One thing you have to do is forget about what people are going to think.
Yeah.
Like, that's going to be the hardest thing. Like, is it going to be a flop? Or is it going to be ridiculous? Am I going to, here's the thing. Do research. Just research. Find other topics. Find other books that are related to that topic you want to write, so that you know what you contribute. Like, writing a book is contributing to the world, to society. You want to contribute your thoughts on a certain topic, and if you gather information from different platforms, different sources, and different wells of information, and you could provide your perspective. That's what the beauty of writing a book, or writing a thesis, and contributing to society. So do research, and then start doing like little. I would have little sessions that I would just brain dump. Now, what that means is, like, you just sit, go to Starbucks or go to a library, sit there and just like pour out your information, and don't care about editing or being grammatically good. Just write, just like flow and get into flow state, and then try to do that every once in a while.
Yeah.
So once you have different stuff, then you start collecting and you start organizing your thoughts. And then this is what I recommend. This is what I did. It helped me. Try to get a book or an outline that has about 10 chapters.
Okay.
Start off with like 10 chapters, and then do like 10 pages each chapter.
Easy.
10 pages each chapter on the actual book.
Yeah.
That starts becoming a little more realistic. And then at the end of the day, you have a short 100-page book that people will actually want to read.
Yeah.
You don't want to write a whole novel. I mean, if you do, go for it. That's your thing. Then you're going to go into that niche market, right?
Yeah.
And more nonfiction or fiction. I wrote nonfiction, which is a little bit more science and math heavy. So I knew I wanted to write it short. And since my topic was really heavy, I wrote it really light, like a conversation. I was talking to the reader.
Yeah.
Like, check out the book and let me know what you think. So that's what I did. I just kind of did 10 chapters. I think there's probably 10 or 11. I don't remember. It's been a little while. And then do like about 10 pages each chapter, and just bam, break off different little topics, and then allow each chapter to end, and then kind of set yourself up for the next chapter, and you just like flow. You have transitions, and then if you're not a natural writer, then you could hire someone to write for you, and those people are called ghostwriters. They take your information and then they kind of make it flow for you. I mean, and then you could pay for someone that. If you can't pay for someone, then practice writing and read books and get ideas from others. So I think those steps right there, simple steps. Bam, you make an outline, brain dump, and then you start organizing yourself. create 10 chapters that you think that are gonna be catchy and attractive to the audience, and then begin with the end in mind. So in other words, you're starting, but you already know where you're going. So when you end, it's like a beautiful landing. It's a beautiful finish. You leave people with like an awe, or you leave people like excited about, Christ and wanting to dive in. And that's the purpose of my book, was like to have people just be excited about their faith in Christ, especially logical thinkers. That was my target audience. Logical thinkers that sometimes you think faith is all like out there in the wilderness somewhere, or out there like in the air. But no, faith is like so tangible, and you get like, once you have convictions of the things that are not seen, and once you just understand that God is so real, and he's more real than what you could see, taste, smell, hear, and interact with this physical world. Once you step into that sort of faith, like it just clicks on you. And if you are a logical thinker, check out this book. And I'm not trying to pitch here or sell, but like that was my target audience. So I know your target audience. Who do you want to write to? Like what's your niche? Like, what is it going to be on? Christian singles, or Christian ministry or leadership, or like find your audience and then write to them.
Y cuando escribes todo esto, lo escribes, te vas un día o dos por ahí, o cómo es que agarras tiempo, porque tienes un trabajo, me imagino.
Yeah. Well, actually, it's very interesting. At the time, I had just graduated. I was going through a rough time. I was unemployed. My mom had just passed. It was just I was going through a really rough time. And I feel like God gave me a window.
Yeah.
God gave me a window to write this book. And I felt it because I couldn't find a job. I was looking and searching, and I'm just being transparent here. And I just couldn't land a job. And then I felt like God said, write this book, and then I will bless you with a job.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, this became my job. And I don't know about you, but I'm kind of a procrastinator unfortunately. So this is a huge, huge step that helped me, which was to put a deadline.
Okay.
Put a date. Find a date where you feel like, okay, I'm going to have a launch party, and I'm going to invite people.
Yeah.
And we're going to celebrate the launch of this book. And then for me, that held me accountable now.
Oh, so hiciste un día y preparaste una fiesta para el día que lo tenías que sacar.
Y sin tener libro.
Oh, wow.
So
Eso te pone presión.
Exactly, and that's what you want. Like, you put pressure on. At least for me, I work good under pressure. So I'll be honest, like, I've been thinking about and collecting this information for years and years, but the actual writing part, it took me, I wrote it like in, it's probably like 6 months, a span of six, probably. And the last 3 months, I was just like crushing it, doing all-nighters because I wanted to meet that goal.
Yeah.
That's how I work. Unfortunately, right? I'm more of like, work better under pressure. But if you don't work that way, find what way works for you. Take your time, dedicate some time, but have a deadline. Or else, if you don't have a deadline, then you're gonna be like, all right, I'll finish it next year. So my deadline, and I'll give you this idea and use it. This is gonna be great. Use it, whatever you want, right? My deadline was I wanted to launch my book on my birthday, my first book.
Nice.
And it was my 30th birthday, and my birthday's on June 30th. So it was my golden years, like 30. And I was like, this is perfect. I have to do it. Like, I can't. And then I think what really helped me, and I want to give a shout out to my wife. Babe, I love you. I hope you're watching. She helped me create a flyer for that day. And she put it on there, and she says, this is Judah's birthday / book launch day.
Wow.
And she sent it out to all my friends and family. And at that moment, I was like, oh my God, I actually have to do this.
Yeah.
And that held me so accountable. And then at that moment, I remember, is where I was like, I'm going to have to do this.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it. So it put like a fire under my butt, and I just started crushing it. I started writing it, just like doing all-nighters. And I remember I didn't sleep for like 2 days and a half
Oh,
straight
derechitos.
because I was just like in the zone. I was like flowing. I was getting things done. And by the end, of course, my eyes were all bloodshot red. And I was like, but like, I feel like when you're in that moment where you're just flowing and you have something that you just know that's going to be really cool to do, and God gives you extra supernatural strength or something, because and that was cool. That was my experience. And then I was able to invite my friends, family, and I had the printouts. And I said, look, instead of buying me gifts, just buy my book.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, just but I have, and I had a bunch of copies, and I sold them to my friends. And you know the cool things about my friends, I'm so grateful for them because, you know, like it maybe feels a little bit weird, but you make your friends buy your book. Like
Yeah.
I didn't make anyone, of course, but I was like, hey guys, look, don't buy me no gifts. Come to my birthday party. I'll hopefully have a good time, and then if you want to contribute, buy a book. Like,
Yeah.
you know, and just kind of hang out.
¿Qué es cómo se siente tener un libro escrito y
Yeah.
luego de tenerlo digital, tenerlo a mano?
Yeah.
¿Cómo se
Oh
siente?
man.
Me imagino que ha de ser algo diferente. Como los videos,
Yeah.
cuando yo los escucho después que los hacemos, yo no hago el trabajo.
Yeah,
Literalmente, es Margarito es el que hace todo el trabajo.
Shout out to
to
Margarito.
Yeah.
Hey.
Pero cuando veo eso, y no es físico porque nomás lo veo.
Yeah,
o sea,
yeah.
lo estamos escuchando y viendo.
Yeah.
Pero me imagino que el libro, ya cuando tú lo agarras, es
Mhm.
como estuve trabajando, no sé, 6 meses. Y
Yeah.
luego ya lo tengo tangible.
Yeah.
Ha de ser algo increíble, ¿no?
Yeah, it is, and it changes you. It's like, man, if I could do this, what else could God use me to do?
Yeah. Mm.
And you start like, you know, your mind believes in you now, and now God like awakens in you like a confidence that I like to like. It's not a confidence in me, but it's a confidence in like, you know what, God actually is using me.
Yeah.
And I like to call that Godfidence. Like God gives you beautiful confidence to pursue and grow and push and do things that will actually make an impact in the lives of people. And so definitely be encouraged. Like I'm a little guy from Surprise, Arizona, a little city out in the middle of nowhere. If God could use this guy,
Yeah.
man,
He use anybody.
he could use anybody. He could use you. He could use a donkey, just like he could use me. You know. So absolutely, guys, go and write. Start doing something. Go start a YouTube channel. Go allow the Lord to use you and flow. It's gonna require a lot of work and dedication and research and time for you to go reading and know your stuff. That's the beautiful
Yeah.
part.
Hace rato dijiste una palabra intencional.
Yes. Yeah, you have to be intentional about your thoughts, your time, your mind. See, this world, it's really interesting how it's working because, you know, there's a lot of people that are making a lot of money based off of stealing attention from you.
Yeah. Definitely.